So hello everyone and welcome to Global Sports Tech Talks 12th edition. It's a new platform, so we hope we don't gonna suffer from too much technical issues. So can you please just share if you can hear me and if you can see me? Perfect. So welcome everyone. And as you know, we are Coliseum Sports Tech Innovation Group located in Israel. And now actually I'm in Los Angeles. So this is the reason for the sun. And as you know, in the past 3 years, we are focused not around only the Israel sport tech ecosystem, but also around the global. And for us, to sharing the knowledge is one of the most important things. So a few weeks ago, we shared our fourth edition of our ecosystem report. And of course, you can find it later in our website. But this report is really, let's call it a hot for those days. As you know, the world of sports is totally changed, and if it's the professional sport, the amateur sport, and all the lockdowns don't help for new athletes and not the one that's supposed to go to the Olympic. And we see few challenges of the sports, if it's around defense, if it's around the injuries, and if it's around how you take this beautiful and amazing technology and implement it in your organization. So one of the, let's call it top trend that we see is the power of the social media, and we can see TikTok that had a lot of amazing records in the past few months, especially during COVID. We can see more than 300 million new users, and yes, the young generation is all around the screens and the second screen, and the startups and the sport organization try to understand how to give him a better content and of course how to leverage it. Another interesting thing that we can see here in the table, if I will ask you which team have the most engagement during during the COVID, probably the first answer will be like FC Barca or Liverpool, Real Madrid. But as you can see here, sometimes when it's around the engagement, there is some sport culture that you can see it's much more than other places. You can see, for example, two teams from Turkey and Flamengo from Brazil and Spain in the top three. And we understand that when the players is far from the crowd at home, the need for the football, the need to feel close, it's crucial. So that's why it's so important to create those connections through the new platform, if it's OTT or any other things. And yes, the big debate today, and as I guess some of you have kids, is around the physical and the virtual room. And sometimes it's really hard to see the kids all day in front of the screen. But as you know, the esport is booming in the past years. You can see here the active users on July, more than 7 million. We see more new broadcaster, new content, and we see those kind of platforms that people look more and more. And the next thing, and later today, we're gonna have a great panels, so they can go much more deep for all those topics, but everything regarding to injury reduction and how you can deal with all this crazy load with the 2 or 3 games a week. It's something that we need to learn. We need to learn because the sport is change and the technology change, and this is the time, as the name of the report said, normal neurons. So yes, I want to welcome Al Brown from Zone 7, Sal Cooks from Basepod, and Guy Bar from HiFit, three amazing company that help to the athletes, each one with his own magician way. Um, so let me stop the screen.
Oh, camera. There we go. Hi, everybody. Tal Brown here from Zone 7, based in California. Tomer, should I start, or are we...
Yes, just let me see. Guy and Sar, you also on the line? Okay, yeah. You start. You're welcome.
Okay, well, I'm going to start, and if somebody wants to ask a question or ask me to go faster or slower, I'm looking also at the chat window. So it's a pleasure to meet everybody. My name is Tal Brown. I'm the CEO of Zone 7. We are based in California and Tel Aviv. We deal in a pretty special space. So what I'd like to do is spend 5 minutes, not more, talking about the company and what we've seen during COVID. And that's it, really. So Zone 7 is not making any kind of hardware. We are not making any kind of spreadsheet analytics tool. We are algorithms that are built to protect the potential and durability of athletes. Means we help athletes reach their peak by smart decisions, and we help them stay at their peak for longer by not overtraining or doing any kind of bad decisions. Ultimately, you need to decide every single day how much you are training, how hard you are training, weight room, running, lifting, and those decisions are where we come and help. COVID has kind of turned the industry into a recession, less revenue, delayed starts, and there's a lot of pressure to get more value for money and to not waste resources on bad decisions made by, I'm using the term old guard. We're seeing this operationally. We're also seeing that there's quite a few acquisitions recently of football teams by new American owners. Roma just got acquired by a new American owner. So this is a new ROI-driven mentality that is slowly becoming more and more prevalent. We also know the sports industry is huge and it's working, right? A lot of examples of success driven by using data correctly. Clubs that use AI well have an advantage, period. And it's not just, Liverpool as the biggest, one of the biggest teams doing this. Even smaller clubs, Wolves in the UK, Getafe in La Liga are using technology, creating advantages that they have despite their small sizes. And for a small club to overperform, you have to have an advantage, and technology is being able to do that. I'm proud at this slide. We are recognized as leading the way in using AI to deal with performance and injuries. I won't read these articles, but the media has been very, very kind to us in the last few years around the work we have done with teams and how it's working. So I don't want to so much pitch Zone 7. I just want to talk about what we've done over the last 6 months during COVID. So the last 6 months have seen teams and clients struggle. They had to train from home, which is a different training methodology. Then they had to have a very short preseason, which is different from their typical 8-9 week preseason. And then they had more games per month or per week than they ever had, which is, again, decisions they need to make are different in this environment. So we've been able to partner with a whole bunch of new clients across different leagues. And I want to talk a little bit about this because these clients basically realize they need to change the decision-making around the training, the workload, the intensity, the rest, the recovery, and they look for tools to help them, and we were fortunately there. What we've done, I think I skipped an important slide. So Zone 7 is unique because we use data. We don't have formulas that you can put into a spreadsheet, but we collect data. And so over the last few years, we collected data from about 50 different teams in all these leagues. We've analyzed about 7,000 injury incidents. A typical team has maybe 50 in a season, so we already have 100 times more, or even 150 times more data than any single team has. And this represents about 150 million hours of football performance. And of course, we're partnering with companies like Wyscout and Metrica and MediaCoach to get game data as well. And so over the last 6 months, what we've done is we partnered with about 12 different clients. And what we do with a client is we help them create value from their existing data. So we do what's called a retrospective report. We come in and we analyze their data from last season. And we use it to show them some of the trends that they have in their injury data. How many injuries did they have is easy, but what was causing those injuries and how could they have been prevented? What we've seen is that we are able to produce approximately 75% detection rate for injuries in all of these leagues. So, UK, EFL, MLS, the Rangers are here, Toronto FC are here, Getafe are here from our client list. And this is an incredible validation for us. It's not just a small sample, it's a very, very big sample. And this kind of helped us validate that for our clients that this is real and working. And we've been able to do well in COVID because just the stars aligned.
Sorry, Tal.
Yes,
Tal. I'm so sorry. This is Tim speaking. I don't think we're seeing your screen. If you could.
Oh, you're not seeing my screen. That's extremely unfortunate.
Yes, this is.
Oh, so you're right.
You have a share screen button there down.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No
what
problem.
What should we do? Let me let me quickly.
We can go over. I mean, it was still super interesting, but I guess with the
okay. I'll just show this. I'm so sorry, guys. Thank you, Tim, for alerting me. So, like I was saying, 12 case studies just from the post-COVID 6 months we just had. Validation is extremely powerful, and we've used this time to build trust with our clients and to communicate openly what we do and that we can be helpful. And this is creating a fantastic momentum for us. And this combined with the pressure that the clubs are having to perform better and to improve their decision-making process, this has been a fantastic opportunity for us. The good thing is that we our process with the team is very much the same. We come in, we validate, both on their data and on case studies. We tailor the solution because every team has a different coach, different philosophy, different training principles, different devices they use to measure. And then it's about integration and scaling. Scaling is where it becomes interesting, right? You start with one squad, and then you can do this for their entire academy, which is, of course, extremely valuable for everybody because it's not just protecting your top players from being hurt. It's also protecting 150 younger players, because if your 16-year-old group of stars are hurt, that creates a very badly a delay effect of how you can succeed with that young core. And Barcelona is a fantastic example of an organization that over time has been able to build on top of their academy. So academy players are now also an asset that needs to be protected and needs to be treated with the best sports science tools in the industry. I think my 5 minutes are up.
We must continue to start from BlazePod, but it's
wonderful.
And I know your company from before, and I think what you did and how you leveraged this situation is amazing. And so, Sar, welcome.
Thank you. Hear me well?
We hear you well, but your camera, I think, turned off.
Yes. Hello, everyone. All good? Can I start?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Tomer. So I'll say a few words about BlazePod. Later on, we can discuss the implication of COVID-19.
Just if you want to share the screen, there is a button similar to Zoom. Just
I don't need the screen. I'm the screen.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so relating to what you said before about kids being stuck on the screen and focusing on esports. So it's actually the very start of BlazePod was around getting kids out of the screen and being able to use technology in order to engage them in some physical activity. So our vision in BlazePod is making reaction training accessible to every coach and athlete. Our belief is that the physical and cognitive elements combined in visual reaction should be embedded into the daily training routine of practically everyone. So with that in mind, we have created the first true mobile-based flash reflex training platform. So it's basically multiple tap-sensitive smart cones, okay? We call these cones pods, and they are simultaneously connected to either mobile smartphone or tablet application using BLE technology, which is Bluetooth Low Energy. And these pods are portable. As you can see, they are durable, and they can be mounted virtually in any scenario, from covering a whole football ground into indoor mounting, vertically, horizontally on poles, walls. You can tie them to a boxing bag or many other. The BlazePod app is an unlimited world of possibilities, allowing the coach or the athletes from any sport field and at any level to either activate or customize a wide range of pre-configured drills sorted by type or activity, sport field, etc. Or they can use the app logics to create and save on the device their own drills that fit their specific training needs. So it's basically an infinite world of possibilities and scenarios, matching any type of activity. So the work with BlazePod is essentially for skill and performance training, and will improve speed, agility, as well as better plus faster decision making and response time. It is also used for tactical training of team sports, and of course for general fitness and performance workouts during training. Another very important element of our app is the analytics part of it. So each and every light tap is being recorded by our app, and then you can actually see your performance. You can measure your progress over time, or the coach can control and measure the progress of each of his athletes, and also benchmark among themselves. All of that comes with the engaging and fun elements of BlazePod, and you can actually, the lights and the colors, you can actually see the smile on the faces of every athlete or person that is training with BlazePod. So we've launched commercially at the beginning of 2019, last year, and we've been facing amazing growth ever since. Looking at the worldwide adoption of BlazePod from top coaches and athletes, from Formula One drivers, boxing world champs, Bundesliga, Premier League clubs, and many others, down to kids academies and amateurs. So that's the sport performance part of our market. The other main markets are fitness, of course, which is accepting BlazePod mainly for engagement and the ability to allow more content and the training possibilities for clients by the trainers, and rehabilitation, which is a very important part of our client base. But essentially, BlazePod offers a unique experience for practically everyone, from babies to elderly people, from top athletes to post-stroke patients and ADHD kids. Now, the pandemic caught us during massive growth rally, and we've proven to be able to continue our growth even in the COVID-19 times, and in view of the huge shift that is reshaping the industry. If I'm looking to sport performance, so we've seen the main shift, as Tal mentioned, from teams and athletes that are training in their facilities as teams with the coaches, to athletes that need to keep their performance level at home or in isolation. So they need to be trained remotely, and they need to keep their performance, keep up, to make sure that they are ready for the next season and prevent injuries. In fitness world, of course, there's a lot of talk here about the dramatic shift the world is seeing from going out from the gym due to the situation to the home. And here again, with BlazeSpot being a mobile, portable, and affordable tool for self-training, we see it being widely used by individuals, small groups, and personal trainers. Of course, we can speak about social media impact, but this is part of our identity. This is one of the big drivers for our initial growth, is the amazing social media traction that we have, and online performance. So we keep growing due to these growth engines. For now, we are in a very important part after overcoming and adapting our messaging to the situation. We are now investing in improving the community elements. We are going to upgrade our app this month to a much more advanced user interface and user experience, and also about to launch our education program in order to create a global network of BlazeSpot trainers. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sar. Thank you so much. And I mean, I think the scope that BlazeSpot targets is very amazing, as you said. From professional teams to amateur teams, and also individual training, and ambitious amateurs, as we like to call them, at home. So that's great. Stay with us as we welcome Guy from iFit, and then we'll jump on a short panel discussion with along with Tal and yourself. So Guy, welcome.
Hey, welcome. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen.
Great to have you with us.
For sure. So, are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, we are. Yes.
Perfect. So, thank you so much for having me. It's obviously always a pleasure to speak and to have some co-events with Colosseum Sports Technology. So basically, my name is Guy. I'm the founder and CEO of iFit. iFit is a startup, a tech company from Israel, that is focusing on making a new functional, smart training experience. We basically come from the school of functional sports, and we always had the passion to come up with a new generation of what workout and products need to be. As founders, we've been big believers in this category. We used to import TRX products back when we were military soldiers, and ever since that story, we had this dream to make the new generation of workout gear. So basically, we came up with a product that integrates between a workout device and a system that collects information and tracks data on users, and it is one of the first smart and sophisticated home gyms that is both portable and has the versatility to have workout anywhere at your maximum level and results. The product has, as I said, functionality that is up to 250 different exercises. It is portable, as about 3 pounds size. It is connected with the top technology and sensors that collect information up to 25 different parameters. It is completely guided and allows you to have workout on every different categories, and it is very affordable. We're talking about $250 product, which in this category is very, very low cost version, as we say. Basically, we have not planned the corona. Obviously, COVID-19 has helped many of the fitness brands in this category. So we definitely seen a very big surge in demand for this kind of products and this kind of solutions, and a lot of people are asking about products that give you the ability to work out at home and anywhere you are. So more about this technology, we really wanted to design the future of portable home gyms. And this is how we came up with the Gear One. There is elements such as resistance adjusters that allow you to adjust the level of resistance. So you basically don't need any kind of weights or any other tension marks. You have one system that has all this for you. You've got sensors that, as I say, make about 20 to 25 different parameters, such as speed, velocity, calorie estimation, repetition, strength, and much more information than that. There are attachments that you can, and you are able to connect it to a door, to a tree, to almost anywhere, so you can have a full body workout completely at any given place. And there is the app, that the app is basically meant to coach you to get better and to get better workout and faster workout. So it is a connection between a home gym that is both portable and a coacher and motivator that will motivate you to have a sophisticated, insane, great workout. So basically our business model goes around the content and the content that we create for users. We have been developing and doing a lot of productions around that, and we continue to develop more content that will be used as subscription tools for this product. We are aiming to come up with our subscription channel by the beginning of next year for about $9.9 a month. And a lot of the cost of the products will be subsidized in according to those product costs. There is a vision from our company to have much more capacity in the fitness tech market, not just the home gym, but much more many more products than that go around this functional category, as we say. So this is the Gear One. That's the first smart home gym that we created, and we definitely are aiming to massively produce it and scale it as a brand. So to this date, we've sold and delivered more than almost 3,000 units, and we continue to develop and to produce a couple of thousands of more. And we're now actually in a process of going into round A funding as a company to scale this business and to completely be able to compete with the big boys in this market. We see ourselves as direct competitors of what Tonal, TRX, and Max Pro are providing in this market, and we definitely want to be highlighted as a company that has both the connectivity, affordability as a product, and mobility that has scales of being a lightweight size product, versatility of any kind of a gym provider, and the workout options of being able to really guide people into better workout, so to speak. So definitely there are the study cases that we've collected about Peloton, and we definitely want to be a company that brings this new market of functional training to this version of connected experience. So we've highlighted on that. Some statistics, yeah.
Guy, this is really all very, very interesting, but we're a bit short on time, so I'd like to jump to the panel, and I think we can explore deeper that dimension as well. Guy, if you'd like to open your camera and we can all be on the same panel. Tomer, I think if you can mute yourself just for the sake of the sound. Okay, there you go. I think, so Sarah, Tal, are you still with us? Yes, there you go. All right. So thank you, guys. Thank you very much for this overview of each of this company. I think there's definitely a lot of complementarities between all the solutions. I'd like to ask you maybe your first question and to start back to Tal, because we're talking here about deep core technologies in each of those cases. In the cases of Zone 7, BlazePort, and iFit, what does it take for you when you go out there to the market to kind of educate them around what the value is, using these technologies? And Tal, you've been working with elite teams. How are you able to make them understand that those, machine learning techniques, deep learning engines to prevent eventually injury rate is able to function? We know it takes a lot of effort as well to educate the market.
Yeah, education is important, especially when you are dealing like us with the sports operations side, the doctors, the coaches, people who are used to dealing with case studies, not from an enterprise perspective, but from a medical perspective, right? So in a way, what we do is it's in a medical side, right? Educating that this tool can help produce a medically impacted metric. I think education has, our journey has been several phases. Phase one, we really screwed it up by using very aggressive terminology. We can predict injuries. Typical Israeli founder in the new industry, elephant in a china shop, whatever metaphor you want to use. I think it wasn't wrong. It's not that we don't have predictive technology, but predicting injuries means, oh, you can tell us that 4 minutes into the second half, this player is going to step on the other player and they will have a hamstring issue. That's not what we do. So we had to learn a language that makes sense in this industry. That's one thing we had to fix. The second thing is we had to be able to show case studies and show proof. It's not enough to, wave our hands and be very charismatic. It's you have to show real proof. So we had success with Getafe from La Liga, who have
Right.
several years of lowest injury rates. We had some other case studies in the US with MLS teams. We're going to announce a few case studies soon. So people want to see that. That's fine. And the third thing is really the company culture about transparency. We have a blog. We talk about our case studies. We talk about our methods. We talk about how we measure success. We talk about mistakes. So that kind of transparency, it's not just a blog in terms of, media posts. It's also in terms of our culture to commit to what we can do and not oversell. That's been a very big part of our ability to get people to listen and to change.
That's a good point, and I think it's same goes with the B2C and the final customer in the case of BlazeSport and iFit. Are you able to kind of get around this messaging of making this elite technology kind of mainstream and put it in the hands of every athlete or potential fitness passionate person in the world? So maybe Sar, you wanna take this one on how you see like the growth and take different training techniques and the technology you've been developing to make it fit the market.
Yeah, so I think that in our case, we've been fortunate to take the revolution that we bring in a way of making something that is already quite known, especially by top professional teams, and making it accessible for the mass market. Okay, so if I saw in Guy's presentation FitLight, which is taking a similar approach of light-based reaction training, but doing it in a much more complex way and way more expensive. So accessible only for top teams and not so. We've been in the Chelsea Football Club, which used to have both systems, and they told us, look, we cannot really train with that because we don't have much time for the training session, and the time that it's taking us to set up the system, nobody works with that. So you need to have something which is much more friendly and plug and play, and that's the real revolution that we brought, and it basically serves the vision of bringing this to everyone, because we believe that it's something that it's a skill that not many train, and it can be sometimes the difference between car accidents and going home. So yes,
That's for sure. And Guy, maybe in your case with the you mentioned obviously the COVID was unfortunate times for everyone, but for this your product was also beneficial in a sense that we all felt that need to work out from home, but there is a lot of solutions out there. How do you come and provide this kind of holistic, affordable solution while the competition is also strong in this space?
I mean, we are battling that as well today. I mean, there is nothing that we can say that, we're already in a point where we've figured it out. Otherwise, we've been booming and making millions of dollars per month. But I think our holistic approach says that there is no home gyms right now in the market that connect between the technology side and the ability to work out and have a true versatile workout. And us being the ones who bring this kind of differentiation to the home gym market, which is quite different than other products, then definitely there is our differentiation part, and we want to focus on making one thing very, very good rather than make a lot of mediocre parts.
Makes a lot of sense. And so where do you see, I would say that, and that will be like kind of the final question, the next big disruption or step in bringing all those technologies that you guys are emphasizing to this new normal of sports and democratizing, because there's a lot of people out there that are seeing this that are sometimes reluctant. We talked about it, but how do you see, what's the next big phase for each of your companies in terms of bringing that to everyone? Tal, you want to maybe take?
Sure. So the next phase for us, basically, there's two things. So next two phases. One is to continue scaling out in football, which is our most mature market. We're going to finish this year with, I don't know if it's going to be X5 more or less on revenue with teams, validation in the UK, Germany, Italy, Spain, US. So we're well positioned to basically go after, 30, 40, 50 new deals next year. So that's scale. The other thing is replicating this process in other sports. So we already have incubations in hockey and baseball, in American football. So for us, it's that. I think the most interesting thing for us is to see how the incubation process for a new sport is becoming faster for us, because we have success, we have case studies, and we understand how to manage this delicate early adopter thing better than we did, a year or two ago. So I think that's for us, and I'm actually I think the COVID dynamic, as unfortunate as it is for us as a society, they may introduce more technical business-like thinking in the sports performance side. So I think that's an opportunity for everybody to sorry for the cliche, to bring Moneyball closer to this medical side, the Moneyball revolution.
Makes a lot of sense. Sarah, Guy, in 1 minute on your side, what's the next big phase? I mean, you're all in growth stage at this point, trying to scale up. Do you see some big milestone over the next couple of months with this new context?
Yeah. So we actually usually you start to walk before you run. So we actually started running, and now we're trying to put on our shoes while running. So and so we spoke about going to the mass market or to the end consumer much later, but the pandemic started bringing us many families and consumers knocking on our door wanting to use the system. So we are trying to push back, trying to validate our platform and make it much more stable with a lot of content and vertical approach, and also some AI capabilities, and also build a community in the professional market before we go on to the mass market.
Perfect. Guy, on your side, that will wrap it up.
I think similar answer to what Sarah mentioned. We really want to touch base on the basic fundamentals of what makes a product very good, and refine those both from the app perspective, both from the hardware, the mechanics, make a very good experience. And once we know that what we deliver is what people look for, then we can definitely scale that up. We're actually on the verge on being there, and I assume it will take us by the end of this year to be a company that can be scaled massively. So that's the target.
Amazing. Well, guys, I'd like to really thank you so much for joining us today and sharing those amazing insights, with this around this tech-powered athlete development vertical, which is really, really exciting. So thank you, guys, and we'll move on to our next kind of broad topic that we tackled in the report. So thank you, guys. Sarah, Tal, it was good to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And I'd like to welcome to the line David Shapiro from Pixellot. We talked about a lot in our report, and I think Pixellot has been making the headlines a lot of times over the last few months of automatic production for all. Now it's the time. AI powered production is I think conquering the world and cutting the cost of producing any live sports event. So we're very excited to have David with us today. David, welcome. And I'd like to give you this 3-4 minutes for you to share a little bit about what Pixellot does, obviously, and what you've been seeing across the last few months in terms of your development.
Great. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate you having us. So just a little background on Pixellot. We're really focused on creating a sports video content revolution. And so, when people hear the word sports video or sports production, they think of the top tier content, La Liga, NFL, Major League Baseball. But we're really focused downstream from that on making millions of small events big so that those players can be recognized and have those moments captured. And what it really starts with is a high quality capture of video. And then we're using AI to produce that video, to create a broadcast feed, to distribute that content, and then also give our partners monetization tools to get a return on their investment with Pixellot. So as you can imagine, the sports industry has mostly focused on producing the top 1% of events, which makes sense, right? This picture you see 100,000 people or whatever in a crowd. It makes sense to produce that game because you've got fans worldwide that are going to watch it. You're going to have lots of sponsors that want to participate. But what's really left behind is the 99% of events. So these are everything from second, third, fourth tier professional leagues into college sports, high school sports, and even down into youth sports. There's so many games and moments that are not being captured in a good way. This just gives you a little bit of a sense for the marketplace. So by research that we've looked at in the field, there's close to 200 million events that are currently played, but not broadcast at all. And that's really the part of the market that we're trying to attack, not the La Liga or MLS type of events. And from those games, there's roughly 5 billion highlights. So we're now using AI to also capture the highlights from each game. So not only do you have games produced as an opportunity, but also all of the individual moments that people want to see. And then there's also roughly 2 million local sports venues that do not have the ability to capture. And that's really who we're trying to sell our product into. So what we've really talked about a lot is democratizing sports production. So as I said earlier, bringing it downstream so that we can reach secondary sports. Women's sports obviously are undercovered, at least in the past, and now we're really bringing them into the limelight and giving these fantastic female athletes the ability to be seen worldwide if their games are streamed or distributed in some other way. And then youth sports is now a focus of ours. We're coming out with a product soon that's going to really work for the youth sports market. That'll be launching within the next 30 to 60 days here. And then also increasing engagement around that content. So giving people an easy way to cut, clip, and share important highlights that matter to them. So what we start with, you see a picture of our camera here in the middle, is that high quality capture is what enables the rest of our business. So you've got 4 cameras that are each capturing a quadrant of the field. Then we're using AI to stitch those cameras together and then track the action. And we really see 3 main segments that are important to the sports market. You've got, from a coaching side, the ability to exchange your content with other coaches and teams, recruiters, etc., and then also analyze that content. So we've got a service where we tag every single touch, for example, in a soccer match or in a basketball game, every assist, every turnover, every rebound, so that coaches can go through and be able to sort and see the important moments that matter to them, as well as see all the high-level statistics from a number of games across whatever market they're interested in. Then obviously you've got the broadcasting side, which is where Pixellot really started as an organization. So we're automating the streaming technology so you can get a game out. If it's in Scotland, you can get that game out to the rest of the world without having any camera operator. And then you've got replay. So replay is used not only for officials, but also for coaches, so that a coach can be on the bench with an iPad, be able to show a player a moment that happened 20 seconds ago and help coach and improve them through that. So we've really expanded our business into all 3 of these sections: the broadcasting section, coaching, and then replay. A little bit about Pixelot. Pixelot's been around for about 6 years. We're headquartered in Tel Aviv, Israel, but have staff worldwide. I'm based in Northern California, just outside of San Francisco. We have about 20 staff members that are in North America, and then about 130 in Israel. Our technology is installed on over 10,000 fields and venues across the world right now. In January, just before the pandemic hit, we were producing 90,000 hours of live sports content. And actually, this month, September, which we're just ending, we're getting very close to that number as a big portion of the US sports events have come back, as well as others worldwide also. And the reason that these numbers are important is everything that we do is based off machine learning. So as we capture more games and highlights, our production and ability to cut that content is improving with each game that we do.
All right.
Here's just a little bit. I'm not going to go over all these numbers, but a little of the more detailed numbers. We've captured about 200,000 women's games. As I mentioned earlier, we're trying to really put women's sports on a platform. Over 5 million baskets captured. This shows you the graph of how we've ramped up. So 3 years ago, we thought we were changing the world with 700 hours a month of live sports content, now up to 90,000. This just gives you a little bit of the revolution that we're creating. So in high schools in the US, we're installed at 6,000 fields. In Germany, we're on over 700 fields and venues. We work with a lot of the elite soccer clubs throughout the world, and then basketball in China and Israel.
Dave, I'd like to keep some time for the discussions after. So, I mean, this is super impressive. And yeah, you see all the partners that, all the fields and the clubs that Pixelot is already installed in and has customers. Very impressive. And I already have some questions in mind for the panel discussion. So stay with us. We'll just welcome Ophir from LiveView, another big player in the field of production, but from a different perspective. LiveView, Ophir. Are you with us?
Hi, thanks. Yes, I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. We hear you perfectly.
Let me share my presentation. Yeah,
for sure. And we'll be happy to learn more about LiveView and how you've been, adjusting to the new normal of sports. And then we'll hear from Pico before jumping on a final discussion with all of you guys.
Yeah. Cool. I'm just struggling a bit to find my presentation here.
No problem. So you got a share screen button at the bottom, and then you should be able to share your screen.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, it's presenting. Perfect.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So hello, everybody. My name is Ophir Zardok, and I'm heading the Sports Business Development Unit at LiveView.
We don't yet see your presentation, Ophir, though.
You don't see my presentation?
We see the folder. We don't see the presentation itself. Sorry.
Not sure why. Yeah, here it is. I hope you can see it now, right?
There you go. Perfect. Thanks.
Fantastic. Cool. So yeah, thanks Coliseum guys for having us now for the second time and putting this amazing report together. And it's really honored to be among all these fantastic companies that just spoke and going to speak very soon. It's really great for us to be among all these amazing companies. I will introduce LiveView. Basically, we are the world leaders in live video solutions. We bring world-leading broadcast technology to the sports world. We already made a revolution in the broadcast industry, and now we are making this revolution in the sports broadcast industry. Our core technology is the capability to bond multiple connections and stream reliable live video over unreliable networks. So we invented the technology back in 2006. We got into the broadcast industry, and now we are heavily involved also in the sports industry, and that's the reason I brought into the company. So we work with some of the biggest sports brands in the world, whether these are like the right holders like FIFA, NBA, etc., working with sports broadcasters, sports production companies along all the side. And what I like to share with you today is a little bit about our experience in the last couple of months, since the pandemic came out and hit us very heavily. And it's about remote production. I think that Shapiro spoke about automatic production. I think that there is something in between before going to a full automatic production. It's what we call remote production. So if we are looking at a traditional multi-camera production, on-site production, you normally see these two, Obi van and satellite van, where around these cars you will see a couple of dozens of people walking around the venue, cabling, putting all the stuff in the venue to make the production available. And as you can imagine, these days, that's dangerous. It's not safe because most of the event organizer want to keep as least people as possible in the venue, and they want to make a safe environment for everybody. And practically what LiveView is doing is we are replacing these two tracks with this one small unit. We are enabling to make a multi-camera production with one unit that one person can hold it connected to 4 cameras and start to make this production. So the advantage of doing this production, of course, the first and foremost these days is safety, keeping everybody healthy and away from from gathering and doing all this dangerous stuff. In addition, it's reducing the cost for traveling. We are using the same people to do this production. And what I like to do is quickly share with you a short video of one of our latest projects. It's a cool one. We did in the UK. And the cool thing about it is that the match was in the UK, but all the production, the graphics, the scoring, the director, everybody were actually sitting in South Africa and producing this match. And all of that was with the LiveView equipment. So here you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2020 Cartier Queen's Cup.
So today we are at the Guards Polo Club. We are filming Cartier Queen's Cup, one of the most prestigious tournaments in the world, played by the best players, the best horses. So therefore, we try to cover it as best as we can. This year we've teamed up with LiveView. We are using the 800. We've been previously using the 600. It's given us, I think, the best coverage we've ever had.
Here's Dylan, the number 2. Dylan slots onto it nicely, connects first time. That's a decent approach shot, and then he does it right there. Score.
So usually when we film a final or a semi-final, we would bring about 5 cameras. You would usually bring our computer, we would have a table, we would set up, we'd run cables. This year has been a pleasure. We have the 800, we can run 4 cameras from it. We have 2 600s on each end zone. No mess, it's simple, it's easy, and it sends a signal straight back to South Africa or Argentina or anywhere in the world. We can really show the excitement and the passion, and it's just been a lovely experience. So PoloCam is looking at expanding our live streaming system. We usually go overseas, we'd have to take computers, boxes, cables, and it was a nightmare going through airports, and it's not good for the equipment to travel like that. With LiveView, we can send anybody, anyone who can handle a camera. They get there, they put it on their back, and it's just a matter of turning it on, pointing the camera. It's made.
Yeah, so I just want to be respectful to the timing, therefore I will stop the video, and I hope that you got the idea and you probably have a good understanding of what we are doing. If you have any question, of course, I will be more than happy to answer them shortly after this, when the speaking session starts. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ophir. Yeah, I mean, very, very straightforward, and I think, what LiveView capabilities allow the rights holders to do is really amazing, and I think in sports there is definitely a great opportunity. So I'd like to invite Asaf from Pico to share a little bit about the fan engagement perspective. We talked a lot about the production, the broadcasting part of the engagement. Obviously, it's super important, but when it comes to really engage with those fans and get to know them, Pico comes in and work with clubs and teams around the world. So Asaf, please welcome. And,
hey guys,
thanks
for putting this together. It's a good opportunity to meet everybody. I haven't seen Ophir in a while now that there's no events. Also David, so it's fun to see everybody. Let me share my screen with you guys. Let's make it happen. just let me know that you see my screen, and I'll give you a few minutes on what we do, and then we can.
Perfect.
Good. So yeah, Pico, like you said, team is all about fan engagement and about data-driven fan marketing. In a very high-level glance, what we do is that provide a channel-agnostic fan marketing platform for sports teams. We are currently trusted by more than 50 different sport giants from almost every league in Europe and the United States, and also now expanding to Asia and South Africa and Brazil. We are in the run, raising a very big round of funding now in the goal in mind of dominating the North American and European markets. We also see lots of growth in the Asian, Brazilian, and Australian market. So this is pretty much where we are. But let's start with understanding exactly what we're solving and what's the problem on the way fans or the way teams are engaging with fans. When you look at a sport team, you usually think about all the content and all the engagement they get on social media and on digital channels. And usually teams, I took a post from FC Bayern Munich as an example, they will brag a lot about how good they are with engaging with their fans. The truth is that while they will be bragging about this type of content, we are saying that this content doesn't really drive any value for the team. It doesn't create any CRM entry about the fans who like the post. It doesn't help them anyway in merchandise sales or in ticket sales or in understanding better what type of sponsors could be more relevant for the fans who actually engage with this post. And that's because we define fan bases into two types of fans. The first one is what we call the identified fans. These fans probably made some sort of transaction with the club. They might have bought tickets or maybe bought merchandise or signed up to a newsletter, but they exist in the team's databases. So the team have data about them and the team know how to reach back to them according to what type of transactions they have done. The second type of fan, which is the bigger portion, is the digital fans. These are fans that are engaging and communicating with the teams only on digital channels. The main challenge here is that teams don't have any data about who these digital fans are. They exist only on digital channels, and the teams have no information about them in their platforms. So when we're looking at real examples like FC Bayern Munich, we could say that they probably have around 10 million fans in their databases, but when looking at their global presence, they have almost 100 million fans following them digitally. You don't need to be, a big mathematician to understand that there is a huge gap here, and the teams are facing a big challenge of actually how to understand who these digital fans are. The three main challenges a sport team would have in terms of the way they're managing their fans could be separated into three main challenges. The first one is what we call the unidentified fans, which we just showed. There's not so many people inside their database compared to how many fans are actually engaging with them on the digital space. This unidentified fans problem creates a second problem, which is what we call the detached fan bases. When a sport organization, when you work at the CRM department or at the sponsorship department or at the sales department of a sport team, you're only exposed to data of fans that are actually identified, who bought something. You as a sales sponsorship owner, you have no way to reach out to fans that are now in the digital space. The only people inside the organization who have access to these fans are the people who are running the digital campaigns, the digital department. So this creates two types of fan bases when only some or only one department inside the organization have access to. The third, and it's all related to the same type of challenges, is that teams are very engaged and fans are very engaged by nature, which made team create a lot of different channels to engaging with fans. And there are now, on average, a team would manage around 10 different channels. This requires a lot of resources. It requires a lot of content to be created all the time. And when you don't get any value out of it, besides likes, comment, and shares, it really creates a challenge of how much you should really invest in. The number one problem they're facing is that they're spending so much money on engagement, but they don't know who they're engaging with. And the idea that when you're talking with teams and you're listening to their presentations at events, everybody will speak about how digital they are, how everything is mobile-based, and that you can't come with tickets to the stadium unless it's mobile ticketing. And at the end of the day, internally, they're not that digital. They don't really know how to manage this funnel, how to manage the jersey of fans who are coming from the digital space. When 90% of fans in average are unidentified to the team they love, we believe that this really calls for an industry wake-up call. At Pico, we're helping team understand that they need to take a more channel-agnostic marketing approach, like other brands doing when they're running marketing campaigns, and we help teams to identify their fans, to add or continuously add data about them along as the journey progresses, and to create a lifetime value from each fan interaction they have. It's challenging as teams are now going through COVID, and this is the first time teams actually realize that they have to invest on learning who the digital fans are. But we're seeing a lot of adoption as a leading platform in this industry. The way our process works is pretty simple. We are creating engagements, fun experiences for fans as part of content team is already posting. So when a team is posting that they acquired a new player, we would create fun games like trivias, votings, image-based games, all these experiences that fans really like to engage with. During this engagement, we will actually take and ask fans questions that are relevant for the team. Things like, who is your favorite player? How many times you've been to games? What's your merchandise preferences? What's your email address if you want to get a unique identifier? Then we take all this information and integrate it inside the CRM infrastructure or the team's infrastructure. We do that in order to make it accessible for all the different departments in the organization so they can then retarget fans according to their unique preferences. I'm wrapping up in a second. I have one more slide. Just wanted to give like a high-level overview. Like I said, we work with more than 50 teams now. We manage almost 2 million fans in our databases from 10 different leagues. We have a global footprint, Europe, United States, Asia, South Africa. And in average, every year, we're helping teams to grow at least 20% in the identified fan base they have. So yeah.
Well, I think that. Thank you so much, Asaf. I think this number is really striking, and the numbers you put before, 90% of unidentified fans for teams around the world. That's actually the way you put it. I think it's great. Like it's a wake up call for all the teams. And I'd like to ask you maybe as a first question to our panel discussion for the next couple of minutes, because obviously you guys have been positioned at different verticals in this new normal and different ways to adjust as well according to the new context. So I'd like to ask you maybe, Asaf, as a first question, around the fan engagement. Obviously, teams have been waking up overnight and seeing the digital fans as much more valuable than they once saw them. How did you, from your conversations with the teams, how did you adjust? What was the kind of conversations you were having at the time? And when you see, now we're past 7-8 months from the beginning of the pandemic, do you see kind of a more mature market you're dealing with, or how is this going on your side?
It's a great question. I would say, looking out, a year and a half ago, I was traveling to every spot in the world to pitch to teams and explain them that they have to understand who their digital fan base is. They would always, some of them would adapt immediately, but the rest would probably say, yeah, it's important for us. We understand it really is a thing. It's a problem. It might not be our number one priority and such. And when COVID-19 started, the first thing they saw is that they don't have any more data about fans at all. So the pipelines were completely broken, and suddenly they had to face a world when they have no idea who they're talking with. There's no games. There's no excuses for why you don't know who your fans are. You don't know any of them, and they're now sitting down waiting to hear from you, and the teams were completely clueless. I don't think the market, is mature. I think the market took a huge hit. I think he's still, licking up the wounds. He's still trying to recover. I think what we're seeing in sports now is that it's kind of like a market with a very low stock, the very low price on the stock. There's a lots of layoffs and firing people in the industry. It's still, I think, we're still not above the spike. Like I think it's still ahead of us. I think we're going to see lots of transitions in clubs' ownerships, in the way leagues are approaching games and such. So the only thing I saw as a change is that the pitch we used to do 2 years ago about how important it is to know your digital fans, that's now every time you hear someone from La Liga or from the Bundesliga or from the NBA, that's what they're pitching. So for me, for us, it was a good ground for saying like, we never say, we told you so, but it's really helpful for us to come in and help them now as the opportunity is now, and they now have willingness to adopt.
That makes a lot of sense, and you're right. I mean, we haven't passed yet this kind of peak and then the tough times. So, David, question for you on the side of automatic production. Obviously, it's becoming more and more of a must-have commodity within the the US market globally as well. What have you seen? Because obviously overnight, all the streaming, then games weren't happening, but at the same time, when games were trying to restart, that was a solution that was kind of obvious, considering that fans weren't allowed in the stadium. So from your side, how do you see the growth of the need for these solutions that you provide?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. So I would say from March to June, when everything froze, there was no games being played. That was probably the worst 3 months that our company's ever had. And then from June to September, now it's been the best 3 months that our company ever had, because everybody's either getting back to play or preparing to get back to play.
Right.
So right now we're installing over 300 units every single week right now on fields. We have been doing that for the past 6 weeks and foresee that going probably through the end of the year. Because streaming, what I would say, really was a nice to have for a lot of these small organizations. But now with limited fans or no fans, it's a must have for them. So it has spiked a lot of growth, and I think it'll continue. I mean, I don't think it'll just end when the pandemic isn't here anymore. People are going to get used to doing business in a new way and taking what I would classify as a tech first mindset. And then I think that will carry forward into the future, into 2021, 22, etc.
For sure. No, for sure. And same question for Ophir, because he is dealing with the same rights holders. And you shared a couple of months ago with us over Global Sports Tech Talks that we're hosting back in April, like a great, at the time, everything was dark, and you were sharing kind of a light at the end of the tunnel, saying live sports can exist, and it can also exist thanks to your technology and your remote production units. So how have you seen the developments over the last few months, and is it a need that you see growing, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think that our biggest advantage is that we are really a real global company. So we operate in Australia, China, Japan, Korea, all the way to the US and Europe in the middle and everything. So when the first wave hit Asia, we were quite successful in Europe and America, and when it hit the main continents, we were quite successful over in China, in Australia, and other places. So somehow we always had working clients, and also the big advantage of that was that when we saw that the pandemic was spreading around Asia, and we saw how Tencent Sports, for example, used LiveView with this remote production, we knew how to duplicate it and replicate it over to other places around the world. So we had kind of our testing ground over in the Far East and implementing it over in the mainland. So it was really, really cool to see it. And I can tell you that for us at LiveView, we had the best 2 quarters ever in sports. So yeah, absolutely.
Very exciting times then. I mean, I think you're all well positioned in this new context, obviously, from different perspectives. What's the next big milestone for each of you in the growth journey? You're at different stages. Obviously, Asaf mentioned a big funding round coming up. Maybe you can share a bit about that. Let's take just 1 minute of, if you'd like to share with the audience what's kind of like on your roadmap and how clients can also approach potential clients can approach you to go with you.
You want me to start?
Yeah, sure, Asaf.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So funding is not it's not a goal; it's a tool. It's something we need to go in order to grow. So I think that's less interesting for us. We are part of a big SAP partnership, and we're also working with Microsoft on a big partnership on the data side. The whole goal here is to take all the very valuable data we get and make it very accessible for the entire organization. So I would say the next 6 months for us is super focused on that, on making sure that the data flows run very seamlessly for teams, so we can take them for the full journey very fast. Partnerships is something we're working a lot on with leagues, with associations, with unions and such. And yeah, expanding to other verticals, this is also something we are working on, mostly in the entertainment space, music, broadcasting, and such. But again, always from the engagement and management and data management and how do you market using the engagement, the high engagement you already have.
For sure. Thank you. David, on Pixellot, you don't want this pace of 300 units a week to go down in the next few months.
Yeah, so we just raised around about 2 months ago to really fuel our growth during this very important time in the market. So for us, it's really, I'd say there's two main focuses. One is scale, keeping up with this very fast growth and making sure that our partners are having success. And then secondarily, moving downstream. So we're going to be releasing products that will really attack the youth sports marketplace, which is a huge market and really underserved. In the US alone, there's 40 million kids that play youth sports. And so that new product line is the next focus of ours.
Perfect. Ophir.
So yeah, I mean, from our perspective as market leaders, we want to maintain our leadership in the market. We want to keep it, keep the growth rate that we currently have, and continue establish ourselves in the market. And the next thing is basically going to the top tier broadcasters. We're currently working on second tier and third tier events, and now we want to penetrate into the main ones, into the big ones. So that's the key thing for us.
All right. Well, I think this is a great call to action, and I really want to thank you for joining us, because I think those insights are very valuable to the audience, especially in those current times. And a lot of rights holders and sports executives are asking themselves, how can I adapt? What are the solutions out there? New context, but also new opportunities that I think all of you guys' solutions emphasize. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Appreciate that, and we'll obviously follow very carefully the developments over the next few months. I will just share with the audience before we wrap it up that we actually are going to be hosting our Sports Tech Nation Summit next December of 7th to 9th of December. This will be a unique opportunity. It's going to be held online, global audience, expecting more than 2,000 attendees from 60 plus countries and many other companies. That you saw a glimpse of one of the leading ones today, but many others will be joining from around the world to share the invaluable solutions to all the sports organizations, stakeholders, and investors. Also with all the big brands that will be joining us to share their case study during the last couple of months and prepare the new normal together, moving sports forward. This is 7th to 9th of December. Book on yourself the calendar and join us for that event. I'd like to thank everyone that joined today. Really appreciate you coming to join us today for this special edition of the Global Sports Tech Talks. We'll be hosting those type of episodes on a monthly basis, just as become a ritual now. Every month we have those events along with our Sports Tech Demo Day. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Tomer, our head of knowledge. Thank you so much, and Fernanda from the team as well. And we'll see you guys very soon. Join us again, colosseumsport.com, sportstechnation.com. Join our channels, and let's be connected to move the industry forward through innovation and technology. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, team.
Bye-bye.